In November 1620, 102 pilgrims in Mayflower arrived at Plymouth, Massachusetts, looking for their religious freedom. What they were waiting was harsh winter. After first winter, only half of the original pilgrims survived. And the remaining survivors, they didn't know how to live in this new land. With the help of Native Americans, they were able to harvest. And in November 1621, they celebrated their first Thanksgiving with the local Native Americans, which started the tradition of Thanksgiving Day. But what we don't know is the story of Squanto. His original name is Tisquantum. He was a man whom God prepared ahead of time to help the pilgrims to settle down in this new land. And I was very challenged and touched by the story of Squanto, so I'd like to share his story with you. About 10 years prior to arrival of pilgrims, Squanto was kidnapped by the English explorer named Thomas Hunt, and he was taken to Malaga, Spain. Fortunately, in Spain, the monks bought Squanto and they taught him education and evangelism. So I'm assuming Squanto learned about the Bible and he accepted Jesus Christ in Spain through the monks. But Squanto wanted to go back home so badly, so with the help of monks, he went to England. And when he went to England, there he learned how to speak English. And he spent about 8 years in England, and he was able to go back to America. But unfortunately, when he went back to his hometown village, he found out all his people in his village, including his family members, they all died of disease. So he was all alone. Can you imagine what was going through his mind? He waited about 10 years to come back to his village, but he found out that there were no families, no friends, no relatives. He was all alone. So he ends up living with the tribe nearby. And when he came back to America, that was year 1619, which was a year prior before the arrival of pilgrims. And one day, Squanto hears the news that there are white people living in his old village. So he decides to go back to his old village and he meets the pilgrims. And he finds out that they need help. So Squanto teaches them how to plant corns, beans, and how to catch fish. And since Squanto was able to speak English and native language, he becomes their interpreter. So basically, Squanto helps pilgrims to settle in this new land. And without Squanto's help, pilgrims would not been able to survive. So I'm pretty sure when they celebrate Thanksgiving in November 1621, when they first harvested crops, this pilgrim must thank God and also thank Squanto. As I researched the story about Squanto, I realized two things. First, as these pilgrims were going through hardships, as they put faith in God, our faithful God prepared Squanto for them, to lead them, guide them, to settle down in this new land. As we believers walk by faith, our faithful God will help us. This Thanksgiving is special because it's happening during this pandemic, and some of you might going through a tough time. But I want to assure you that our faithful God will help you and guide you and send someone like Squanto in your life when you need help. Second, we could all become like Squanto. As we go through hardships and trials, we will be trained, and God will use our hardships to give hope and help those who are in need. So as we go through this Thanksgiving during this pandemic, let us all continue to trust in God and be like Squanto so that we could help others. Thank you for listening, And I hope you have a safe and graceful Thanksgiving with your loved ones. See you next time.